Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Friday, everybody, and it's Nielsen and Hustler back with you once again in the Lock Shop, brought to you by our great partners at Coolbet. Jake Bolin Moss from Coolbet's going to pop by here almost right off the top, all part of the Nielsen Media Coolbet Network. Little bit of a quiet week in sports. We still got stuff you can bet on tonight and this weekend. And then, of course, huge Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl episode next week to get you ready. Plus, NHL action returns on Tuesday. House busy week next week.
Yeah, no doubt. Very quiet. I was struggling trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do for our daily pick on the Coolbet socials yesterday. I did not take a winner. I took Giannis and the Bucks -4. However, I did watch the game. It did get me locked into
what a fourth quarter.
Hell of a game between the Clippers and Bucks last night. But yeah, listen, we got the Pebble Beach this weekend. Still looking to see if our guys can kind of make a bit of a run and be in the mix and follow up your big win with Max Homa last week at the Farmers. And I'm actually now started getting into this NHL All-Star game. I've got some picks for the All-Star skills festivities that'll be going on later on tonight, so we can get those. But let's face it, the focus right now is on the Super Bowl, a week Sunday, Eagles and Chiefs. I cannot wait. It's a long wait, but it's a good wait considering the injuries the Chiefs suffered in the AFC Championship game. Hopefully they can get some of those guys back for the big game.
Yeah, you know what? I always look at this 2-week break. What it does provide us is a lot more time to bet on this stuff. You know, like Coolbet, from an NFL perspective, they've already got almost 600 markets up with player props and game props. And like I said, we're going to have 4 or 5 episodes next week getting you ready for the Super Bowl. But it does give us an extra week. Like, I'd be scrambling right now trying to get all my bets in. Now we get a whole nother week. Kind of dive into this a bit. I like it.
Well, I love the fact that they're all up too. I mean, right now I'm just glancing at the markets. I mean, it's all the usual, the winner, the totals. I mean, game props, MVP, the touchdowns are up. And for most of the players that are assumed to be playing, all of their yardage touchdown props are up right now. We'll get, I'm sure, some more fun props coming up on the board a little closer to game time next year. But we do have the Gatorade, the color of the liquid to be poured afterwards, position of the player to do the pouring. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. It is the biggest betting event of the year, and Coolbet's already stacked with tons of options if you want to get ahead of it right now, heading into 2 Sundays from now.
Well, let's bring in Jake from Coolbet right now. Find him on Twitter, Jake Bolin Moss. And I don't know if it's just me. Since the last time we had you on, have you got a new ring light or you got a new light there at the desk, Jake? Yeah, very shiny today. I like it.
No, I just threw it on. I have it here. It's just a matter of me. I got to do the big loop around the desk and go to get it. So
remembering to turn it on, basically.
I just happen to turn it on.
Well, congrats on remembering.
Well, the thing is, every time I turn on, I open the Coolbet screen in front of me. It's a dark screen, right? Like we have
that's true.
The dark screen or whatever. So there's a lot of the times, like if the light's off, I'm not getting that the light to my face. So I figure it's a little easier to see me. Here I am, lights on today.
Looking good as always. What'd you think of last Sunday and the 2 championship games?
Well, listen, I had the Chiefs on the money line, so I was pretty happy. I think it's like 3 years in a row now I've cashed a Chiefs ticket. Obviously, they didn't win the AFC Championship last year. I think it would have been the Bills game that I had them, and then I think the year before was maybe that Cleveland game with Chad Henne. I think they end up covering. I don't know if that was 2 years ago or whatever, but I don't know. It seems like every year I end up on the Chiefs at some point in the playoffs, so it was kind of just, you got to follow suit, keep it rolling. And
not a bad idea.
Obviously some calls definitely went the Chiefs' way, but there was a lot of chances for Cincy to win that game. I don't know about all the complaints online about the refereeing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at a close game like that, and it was somewhat controversial. The one bizarre call, of course, was the replay of that third down.
That was
and then
nuts.
For there to be a penalty afterwards. And listen, if you go back and look at the replay, there's a referee running onto the field, calling the play. Just nobody saw it when it happened, and they had a full play to do it. I personally, I'm happy that all that did was basically take 30 seconds off the clock, and it didn't lead to a score, because then I think there'd probably be a little bit more beef. As far as anyone bitching about the penalty that really changed the game at the end with the 15-yarder.
Wow, that was an obvious call, right?
100 out of 100 times.
They call
Anyone
that
that's
stupid
about
play.
that.
Yeah.
Like, and you feel for Osai, like that was brutal after the game, but at the same time, like they're calling that no matter what. So I don't know, like that's not really a complaint. Sure, there was a couple instances that maybe could have gone either way, but that one definitely is a penalty.
Baker Mayfield's getting that call, run out of bounds. What do you think's going to happen with Patrick Mahomes in a championship game? Like, that was an automatic call, just a stupid.
Well, and the crazy thing about it was, I mean, I was sitting there, obviously we're on pins and needles in the stadium, freezing our asses off, waiting to see what happens. And at that point, kind of assuming that they're going to overtime. But I said to my friend, they basically need to get 20 yards here and get out of bounds. And the minute Mahomes started running, it basically became clear that, okay, this one's going to OT. He did get out of bounds, which gave them 8 seconds left. But I mean, the minute that penalty happened, you could hear a collective gasp in the stadium because everybody knew exactly what that meant. And listen, they needed every one of those yards too, because with the wind conditions and the cold, I mean, these guys weren't even really kicking 50-yarders in warm-up beforehand. So to get it to 48, 45, and even when that went through, I mean, it seemed like the ball was in the air forever because the wind was sort of pushing it back, and it didn't clear for by very much. But something that I'll remember for a long time, and a penalty that will go down in infamy when we're talking about the most impactful penalties in NFL playoff history.
It's funny you mentioned that kick too, and I remember watching the replay, and I was like, oh, that thing would have cleared by like a mile. And then you watch it from the other angle, which was like just below the upright, and it really got held up, like you said, in that wind, and it really only just cleared, maybe like 3 or 4 more yards that clears, but not by much. So yeah, definitely that yardage makes a huge difference. And here you are, Huss, another Super Bowl appearance incoming.
It's hard to believe after a long run of just hoping the team would make the playoffs and win a game, 5 straight AFC championships, and now 3 in 5 years going to the big game for Patrick Mahomes. It's pretty incredible. And I can't tell you enough. I know, Dusty, we talked about it earlier this week.
Yeah.
I mean, the atmosphere in and around Kansas City, the whole weekend leading up into that game, the parking lot beforehand, the celebration afterwards, something that I won't forget for a long time. That being said, the job is not done. And man, what a matchup we have. Jake, just first glance, I mean, now what do you think about this game? We're basically been going back between 1 and 1.5 for the last week at Coolbet. To me, this isn't even a spread pick. This is a money line bet between the two best teams in the National Football League all season long. I mean, what a matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you said it with the Bengals game too. Like, you're not going to bet on the spread here. You're just going to take the money line, whatever side you end up liking whenever game day rolls around. I guess I made the mistake. I waited till Sunday to bet on the Chiefs. Obviously, there were better numbers earlier in the week, but I'd like to know what's going on. I mean, I think there was rumors Kelsey last week wasn't even going to play.
Yeah, his back issues, yeah.
And obviously he did end up playing, but then we saw all the injuries that did happen to the KC offense. On Philly's side, you think about, like, this schedule thing has become a big talking point online, right? Like, how good are the teams that they beat this year? How good are the teams they beat going into the Super Bowl? They beat a Giants team who really is more on the come up than established. And then a San Fran team who had everything in front of them and lost their 3rd string quarterback or on their 4th string quarterback. But they've done it handily. I think the Eagles are a good team. I wouldn't discredit them at all. But I do lean Chiefs with you again, Huss. I think obviously the health concerns are going to be something I'm keeping an eye on as we get closer to next weekend. But I'm leaning Chiefs myself.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest, I mean, there's 3 players right now that we're paying close attention to in Kansas City. Andy Reid did say it doesn't look like Mecole Hardman's going to be able to play in the game, so I think we can forget about him. But Kadarius Toney with the ankle, Juju Smith-Schuster with the knee on the offensive side. And I'll tell you what, considering what Philly brings to the table, especially on the ground, the Chiefs got to pray that L'Jarius Sneed is going to be able to go. He is such an important part of that defense. And it's one thing covering receivers. The other thing is he might be one of the best tackling players at his position in the NFL. And you're going to need to be able to tackle playing against the Philadelphia Eagles with what they're bringing in. So we'll keep a keen eye on those players right now. And hopefully Mahomes won't be thrown to special teamers in the second half of the game in Glendale like he was in Kansas City last weekend.
Jake, and we'll talk next week. I mean, Super Bowl heavy next week. Before I leave, NHL's at an All-Star break, and I just thought this is a good time to kind of take a look at the future markets over at Coolbet for the NHL right now. And they've got the Boston. You guys have the Boston Bruins, who are a juggernaut, plus 500, 5-1 to win the Cup. Colorado's plus 625. Carolina's plus 950. The Leafs are 10-1. Tampa's 15-1. The Devils are 15-1. The Oilers are 15-1. The Golden Knights are 15-1. Dallas is at 16-1. And then I just want to take this all the way down to the Jets here. Rangers are 22-1. Minnesota's plus 2,300. Calgary's plus 2,300. And Winnipeg is plus 2,400 right now. Is there anything that jumps off the page for you as far as what we've seen in the National Hockey League so far and where we might find the most value on that list?
I know where Jake's going with this one. 10-1.
Honestly, Tampa at 15-1 keeps calling my name. Like, they've proven they can do it. Vasilevsky's still playing goalie for them. They're a really good hockey team. We saw them beat Boston, 3 games ago. I mean, that one right there, obviously, Huss, I can't go to 10-1. This team, just got crushed by Boston, embarrassed by Boston. Where it's just like get up one time. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the Leafs. So I don't know. Tampa has been the one that's calling my name. It remains at 15-1. And yeah, I mean, obviously that has a lot to do with the fact that they're probably not winning the division with Boston so far and away ahead of everyone else. But if they find a way to catch the Leafs, and I mean, they're not that they're that far behind, but they get to that second spot, they got home ice for at least the first series. Then they'd have to play Boston, who I think they could take down. And then you probably end up getting, if you don't get beat up after those first 2 matchups, you probably end up getting your easiest matchup in the conference final. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think Carolina's a great team, but at 9.5-1, probably not the number I'd want it at. A little further down, I don't know. I don't follow the West as much. I think that's more your guys.
It's wide open. The West is kind of wide open right now.
Talking on the West, like I have a team that I'm really in love with. But Borny was going on about that Pacific Division. I end up jumping on the Oilers to win the Pacific there. I think some of those markets. Are you seeing those markets on your guys end there for the division and conference?
I see they are. They're up. Yep.
Okay, Oilers. Yeah. So they should be there for the next couple days, at least till we get back on track for Monday. But yeah, I jumped on the Oilers to win the Pacific. They're plus 240 right now, just behind the Kraken at plus 165. So that's one in the West that I'm looking at. Obviously, it's not a cup, but yeah, Tampa's that one that keeps. I mean, I know they've done it. Like they won 2 cups, went to a third one. Didn't get it done last year against Colorado, but yeah, I mean, still at 15-1, they're only going to get. The number's only going to get worse, I'd imagine, from there. It's not like they're going to fall off, right? Like they're Tampa. They still got a lot of that main core, and I don't know.
It's funny. We were. If you guys are familiar with that Money Puck site that does models and projections, they came out with their playoff projections yesterday, and it was fascinating. The team with the best chance to win the Cup by their model is the Carolina Hurricanes at 12.5%. Number 2 is the Edmonton Oilers at 11.9. Number 3 is the Boston Bruins at 10.1. And just behind Boston at 9.8 or something like that is the Winnipeg Jets. And what I found so interesting about this is I think obviously goaltending is cooked in pretty heavy to these numbers, and that gives the Winnipeg Jets a big boost because of Connor Hellebuck. But it just speaks to that division in the Atlantic with 3 great teams and how difficult it is just to come out of that. And you'd have to assume that Carolina really has the inside track on making it out from the other side into that conference final. So certainly if you compare what those numbers are to what the books are, Jets at 24-1 still has value. And it's been fascinating, guys, watching that number. That was 80-1 preseason. it was 50 to 1 through the better part of the first 2 months of the year. It then dropped to 40. Last week, it was kind of 33 or 30. Now we're at 24 right now, but still lots of work to go for the Winnipeg Jets. Although the Jets are 1 point out of first place in the Central. Colorado still has a long ways to go. I'm just looking at plus 450 to win the Central on Winnipeg, a pretty interesting number. But I got to tell you, when I look at those futures, I still think that this might be the Hurricanes' year. I know Boston's been so good. Just can you do that for so long and go through the path that they're going to have to go? I'm not sure. I don't mind 9.5 to 1 on the Hurricanes to finally get over the hump right now, at least to win the East and get to the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, and Huss, I think you're talking about this on the hedge. How great would a Jets-Oilers conference final be for this show?
Oh, my God. For this show? Come on.
Come on. Like, I'm going to dream of it. And it doesn't even have an effect on my life. Well, it does, but not as much as it would for you guys. And I'm going to wish for it.
Yeah, it would be lock shop on the road for a few games, home and away from
that would be amazing, man. God. Oh, yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance it happens, man. The West is wide open. I think the Oilers are one of, if not the best team in the Pacific. I like that plus 240 to win that division right now, which is where it sits at. And the Jets have been good too.
If that happens, I mean, obviously we look back to their matchup a couple years ago. I guess the big question is, will the Oilers win a game?
Listen to this guy. My God.
Hey, we'll always have that
that's
sweep.
Funny.
You tormented me for my entire childhood. Yeah. There may have been no fans in the damn building, but we will always have that sweep, even though it ended very quickly after that, unfortunately, on a sweep the other way to the frickin' Habs of all teams.
Amazing. All right, Jake, thanks for popping by, buddy. Really appreciate it, man. And maybe we'll mix you in next week, too, depending on what Pat's schedule's like.
Yeah, if you don't mind, one more thing. And I'm sure I'll jinx it, but Patty and I, 2 of the last 3 nights have cashed on the 4-team college basketball parlay. So we went from college football, we buzzed on that all season. Now we're on to college basketball. Patty Buck.
2 of the last 3 nights? 4 gamers?
Yeah. Yeah, we had 3-4 gamers in the last 3 nights, and we just cashed last night and then 2 nights ago, or 3 nights ago, I guess.
And by the way,
the
only reason that you didn't cash the night before was because I bet it.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure I'll jinx it by saying it, but I just figure I'm gonna toot our horn while I have it.
Hey, you got to do it. No, listen, you guys are the college whisperers. It was the foot. I had a great run jumping on your exclusives during college football season and college hoops. I'll be back at it. And as I said, I think I maybe used a lot of my karma for the big game on the weekend. But we're going to get it back for these All-Star festivities. And then most importantly, next weekend, Philly and the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
See you, buddy. There you go.
Take it easy, Jake.
You can find that in the exclusive section over at Coolbet right now. They always got a bunch of fun and creative exclusives there, and they've been on a little bit of a heater with the college hoops. Huss, I don't know. You're probably talking about, because Coolbet partners with Winnipeg Sports Talk as well. What do you think of Calgary being 23 to 1 and Winnipeg being 24 to 1 to win the cup right now?
Dude, we're so used to it. I mean, the Jets are a team that don't get a lot of attention. People are slow to move on and have consistently been providing crazy value for bettors throughout this entire season. Now, finally, we're 52 games in the year and the team is where they are right now, and they've won the amount of games that they are. We've seen that come down a little bit, but I mean, if you took away the name of the team and just said, well, they've got a Vezina Trophy level goaltender, they've got 3 guys in the top 25 in the league for this season, as far as what TSN just rolled out. They're in the wide open division and wide open conference. Why not this team? I think you'd get a much better number right now. So if you are a Jets backer, don't complain about it. Just take the best number that you have. And listen, if people are going to sleep on the Winnipeg Jets, they can continue to do that. At some point, they'll wake up if the team can do what they're hoping to do, and that's get a nice run come playoff time.
All right, Huss, what are you on for the All-Star festivities here? What do you got? Oh, you're diving into this.
All right, here we go. We've got a bunch of props. We've got the All-Star Game MVP, and then a few of the skills competitions. I'll go to the MVP right off the bat. McDavid is the favorite at 11 to 1. Barkov at 12 to 1. Draisaitl, McKinnon, Pasternak, Matthew Tkachuk, all at 15-1. Makar 20-1. Sid and Ovi 20-1, along with Mikko Rantanen. I'm going to put a little sprinkle on Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk in this game. Listen, he's a showman. He'll certainly get plenty of attention, but the guy really can score. And, again, it's 3-on-3. It's fun. And I think there might be a little bit of an extra boost in his first year as a Panther, playing at home in front of at least in their home rink. And I think that might give him maybe even a little bit of a boost or a head up, if you will, on some of the other guys if it does end up close. It'd sort of be a good story. I think the people that vote on that or however it put together might lean towards a home player. So I'm going to jump on Tkachuk at 15-1 for the NHL All-Star Game MVP. But I do have a couple picks from the skills competition. The accuracy shooting is going off. McDavid favorite at plus 350, Draisaitl at 5-1, and then a big group of players at 6. I'm liking Jack Hughes at 6-1. Now he's shown that he can score. I mean, a real sniper, an incredible player with a breakout season this year. But I could just see Jack Hughes being the sort of guy that could jump up and really take advantage of this opportunity, maybe to introduce himself to more people in and around the league. Completely wide open, but he's shown that he can snipe this year. Why not Jack Hughes at 6-1 in the accuracy shooting competition? The fastest skater, we won't get McDavid, which is unfortunate, but Cale Makar is in it, and he is the favorite, slight favorite over former winner Dylan Larkin with Stevenson, Kaprizov, and Svechnikov. I know it's a little chalky, but I think Cale Makar 2-1 is a pretty nice bet. Dylan Larkin's won it before, so let's see what the young guy can do. And then for Jets fans, Josh Morrissey's going in the hardest shot, which is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, he's got a good shot, but I'm not sure whether you think of Morrissey as, a guy with one of the best shots in the league. That being said, this is consistently run to defensemen winning this event, and there's only 5 players in it: Ovi, Elias Pettersson, Rasmus Dahlin, Seth Jones, and Josh Morrissey. And I was on Mean Streets earlier today with Chris Meany, and he was popping up some odds, and it was fascinating the difference in what some of the books have had. Wherever they were quoting had Ovi at like 2-1, Pettersson at plus 250, Dahlin plus 3.5, and I think Morrissey was plus 380. Josh Morrissey is 10-1, although that's just dropped as I'm speaking. It's gone from 10-1 to 8-1. Bottom line is Dahlin 7-1, Seth Jones is plus 750, Josh Morrissey is 8-1. I wouldn't even mind, and I think I might bet those 3 guys.
The 3 defensemen.
Minimum of 7-1, and essentially it's like a over 2-1 bet on one of those 3 guys winning a competition out of 5. So I think there's some value on the dogs in the hardest shot competition. Certainly history's told us defensemen usually win this. Dahlin, Jones, and Morrissey all between 7-1 to 8-1. I think you can't go wrong putting a little sprinkle on that. There's good value there. So going to be jumping on that. As far as the actual games as all, I mean, do you have any lean on, who will take this out? I mean,
I can't bring myself to do that. I just, not an all-star games. With that being said, I'm not going to ever go against Connor McDavid, even when he's playing against the best in the world. The guy's ridiculous.
And they're the longest odds. The Pacific Division's plus 320. Like, I guess the Atlantic and the Central maybe get the boost because of goaltending. Although I guess the Metropolitan's the one with Shesterkin. The Central Division certainly has some big time players and fantastic goaltending between Saros and Hellebuck. So I think maybe just for a fun sprinkle, maybe we'll jump on there. But it's a lot harder. One other interesting prop that I don't really have a play for, but you can jump on yourself: head-to-head points.
I'm looking at that right now.
McDavid versus Draisaitl, Makar versus Fox, Sid versus Ovi, Brady versus Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, really, really cool options. So jump on those if you'd like. And as we just laid out before, this is a perfect time to get into the futures because we've got more than just the usual win the cup, divisions, and much more right now at Coolbet as we get into this All-Star break.
And I've just got a little parlay tonight in the NBA if you want to get on this. I got Sacramento Kings, and I know De'Aaron Fox isn't playing, so you don't say, Dusty, Fox isn't playing. The Kings going up tonight against the Pacers, who played last night and absolutely shot the lights out in the first half and almost 3 quarters against the Lakers, and then pissed it away in the fourth quarter. Lakers came back and won that game by 1. Tyrese Halliburton had returned to the lineup for the Pacers last night, but he's just coming off injury. This is a back-to-back. I've been trying to look here in just the last few minutes to see if he's confirmed, because he's listed as questionable for the game tonight, basically on a load management, just returning to the lineup. This guy's an all-star. He's a 20-point game, 20 point per game guy. The Kings are 5-1 in their last 6 against the Pacers when it comes to the spread. The Pacers are 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games as well. And if Halliburton can't go tonight, even without Fox, I really like this game for the Kings. And then, I'm going to throw the Raptors in here just to get this back up over plus money. Raptors going up against the Houston Rockets tonight. I know this Raptors season has not gone the way that they expected it to go. They don't have OG Anunoby right now. I thought about maybe taking the over in this game because the Raptors defense without Anunoby is brutal, but the Rockets have played the under in, I think, 6 of their last 7 because they can't score. So the Raptors should be able to score the ball tonight against Houston, and they can't run it very deep, Toronto, off their bench right now, so probably going to see a lot of their top-end guys, and against a team as shitty as Houston, I think that's going to go a long way. So Raptors and Sacramento Kings on a money line play tonight gets up to just like plus 116, minor number. But if you're looking for some action tonight in the NBA, that would be something that I would suggest.
Yeah, good stuff. I was actually just looking at the board, and as you started that, the Kings-Pacers game was off the board, but it's back now. The Kings are 3.5-point favorites. It's minus 167 on the money line. Putting these in right now, plus 113 on that. So a plus money parlay, taking a couple favorites together.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Lock Shop, and buckle up for next week. Obviously, hockey will return on Tuesday, but probably at least 4 episodes next week, if not 5, getting ready for the Super Bowl, because there is a lot to discuss to get ready, and there's lots of different props that you can get on as well throughout the week. So take it easy this weekend. Save some of that bankroll maybe if you want. You don't want to blow it all on the All-Star game, but I do like that idea of getting in on those 3 defensemen to win. At plus 700, plus 800. I mean, easy way to double your money here if any of those guys get the job done, right? So
yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. Stick a unit or whatever you want to base it on, and just be cheering against Ovechkin and Pettersson, and see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's going to be the way that I go. We'll put a little sprinkle on Jack Hughes and Matthew Tkachuk at 15-1 for the All-Star Game MVP. We got to watch something and bet on something.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And just Pebble Beach Pro-Am hasn't looked great for a lot of our guys. It's early. I mean, it's still pretty early in this event. I think I saw my long shot, Nick Taylor, was like tied for 23rd after the first round, but not much going on outside of that. So
no. Harry Higgs. Harry Higgs is 3 under
today.
Through two today. He started off birdie eagle. Wouldn't that be cool if he's playing Pebble today? Here's the thing. It's 3 different courses for the first 3 rounds. So, I think you really need to sort of get into round 3 to get a pretty good idea about where you're playing, because guys that maybe were on an easier course early on, playing tougher ones later on. I can tell you, though, Nick Taylor is 3 under right now. My long shot, Bo Hostler's there, tied at 3 under as well. The 80-1 pick. But so many weird names on this list right now, just because of we kind of went through this on Wednesday, how many guys aren't here and how many live guys who are normally always at this event. DJ, Phil, these Torrey and Pebble, these were tournaments that they were always at. So certainly a lot more wide open right now. And hopefully we'll have a little sweat going on Sunday afternoon with when everything kind of settles out.
Talk to you next week, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening. Appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.